Well, you know, never really the video you want to make, but I've talked plenty about business, so let's go ahead and talk about this too. In my opinion, whenever you have an experience, good, bad, otherwise, it's really important to look back on it and figure out what you did right, what you did wrong, and then you can figure out what you could have done better. So that's what I'm trying to do here. I can basically boil down what went wrong with my business and why it failed to three things. One, a lack of repeatability and automation. The second was a lack of capital. And the third was inconsistent sales and an inability to predict because of that. We'll go into each one after the break, and stay tuned, I've got some other news that you might be interested in. So a lack of automation and repeatability from a CNC guy, right? A little weird. But it's really important to be able to repeat your work, be able to make a product again if it's not just a one-off thing. And if you can't do that, you're always fighting for time that you really could have saved yourself, and I wasn't. Now, lack of capital, that really just comes down to not having enough money laying around to do the things that needed to get done. You know, if you're always buying things in onesies and twosies, you're not getting any deals. If you're buying by the ton, you're gonna get a lot better deal. And it is really gonna add up for you when you're shaving off 10, 15, 20% of what you're doing every day. And the last bit, which may be the most important, is inconsistent sales, which really hampers everything else you're trying to do. If you don't have a good idea of what your income's gonna be based on your sales, it's hard to hire, it's hard to plan, it's hard to make investments, it's hard to get a loan if you need that. Not that I suggest going that route. Very important to be able to predict what's gonna be going on and build your business around that. Yeah, so the long and the short of it is, I guess I just wasn't cut out to make chicken coops, or planter beds, or greenhouses. Alrighty, so clickbait aside, if you thought this video was gonna be about why 42 Fab's dead, I got news for you. We're here. It's been good to take a break. Had some family stuff to deal with, but we're back. And for the loyal people that are jumping right back in on a video, the first in over a year, I want you to know we appreciate it, and hit that notification bell, because later on today when our Cyber Monday deal comes out, the first hour or so, we are gonna have the biggest sale we've ever offered on them, 20% off everything, including the over 100 new kits that are available this year. Now let's go inside and jump through those three options in a little bit more detail. So hopefully you can learn some of the lessons I learned the hard way without doing it the hard way. So automation, that doesn't have to mean a machine. It can just as much mean automating your processes. I was working in my garage in college, didn't really have the tools I could have, didn't have a CNC, probably didn't need one, didn't have a table saw or a track saw for breaking down sheets of plywood, and I didn't even have a miter saw station set up, so I was inefficient. Every time I was gonna go break down some plywood or cut up some 2x3s, 2x4s, I was pulling measurements and doing layout. I've done a couple videos on this channel about the importance of jigs, and I had not learned that lesson at that time. So I was laying everything out every time, even if I was making 2 or 3 of the same part, or the same chicken coop, or the same planter bed. It was not efficient, and even though I had pared down my offerings to about 4 different models of chicken coop, I still didn't have jigs or anything set up to make that process faster, so it was a struggle every time. So what I've done with 42 Fab, and especially with the Weld It Yourself kits, is gone through everything we do and make it systematic and repeatable. For example, when we're packing up our flowers, we've got this little insert, goes right into the welding table. You can put some flowers on it and take a little heat shrink bag, get them in there, and you're good to go that fast. You're not putting these in one at a time. You're not trying to find a space to do it. We have a space, it's ready to go, repeatable, it's automated. Okay, so lack of capital as number 2. You can see my metal pile is actually pretty low right now because we've been prepping everything for Black Friday. But when I buy metal now, I am buying by the ton and generally by the 5 tons, which gets me prices that are sometimes as much as half off what I'm paying at my local steel yard. I'm buying directly from the mill in this case. When I was doing chicken coops, God, it's cold out here. When I was building chicken coops and planter beds, I was paying the exact same price anybody else would when they went to Lowe's or Home Depot. Best I could hope for was like the 5 or 10% off you got with their pro cards, because I wasn't buying in volume to where I was a contractor or able to get any of those benefits. I didn't have money laying around to buy plywood and have it on hand. Every time I got an order, I had to run to the store, get the materials I needed. I might be able to do 2 or 3 at once, but that was about the best it ever got. That takes time. You're not saving the money on the materials. It just adds up. And that money that you didn't save is now not available to do things like upgrade your equipment to get a track saw, a table saw, a miter saw, like I just mentioned in the automation part. A lack of capital also limits how much you can invest in future opportunities, in trying new things out and experimenting, in coming up with new products. All of this right here is about $3,000 worth of tools I had to buy because, don't tell anybody, but for Cyber Monday, the video here in a couple hours, we're coming out with these wall-mounted tool holders for every brand out there. That's an investment I've got, thousands of dollars into because I think that I can sell it. It's not something you can do if there's not money laying around to do that with, or at least it makes it a lot more difficult to do. Living a little bit below your means and reinvesting into the business will build up that capital to let you do the things that you want to do, to let you buy equipment. I paid full freight for my plasma table because I didn't want to have to talk nice about whatever company wanted me to do. It's 20 grand, it's not cheap. I've got $2,000 worth of belt sander here. I've got almost 4 grand in my shelving setup just here so we can have a work table that's convenient to work off of and organize things into. You can just keep going around and pointing at things. That's something that I didn't have the ability to do back in the day because I wasn't running my business in a way to build up that free capital to allow me to. And if you're interested in plasma cutting, get subscribed. I will be doing a full review on the plasma table that I decided to buy. I've had it for 2 years now, and I've put over 100 tons of steel across it. So it's got some time, and I think I can actually give it a real review now. The final major hurdle that I can identify as a big problem with my first go at running a business was consistency. Now that, of course, could be product, how you manage your bank account, any of that. But in this case, I'm talking specifically about the consistency of sales. Chicken coops, planter beds, greenhouses, they're all spring, early summer products. Same thing applies with sign making. Very few people are going to start a business in the middle of winter. So signs are end of winter, spring, and into summer as people get ready to launch their business. So I knew coming into this that I needed to diversify. I needed to have things to do in the winter. One of the reasons we do such a big winter sale for the Weld It Yourself kits. That gives us something to do in the winter if we're not already busy. Last year we were busy, we didn't do the big Christmas sale. So if you're into running a CNC plasma table and doing wall art, you really need to think about what you're going to do when it's not craft fair season, flea market season, sports, whatever. You've got, the holidays where you can sell, you've got warm weather. What are you going to do the other 4 or 5 months out of the year? Think about it, come up with a plan, or just let it stay a hobby, I guess. It's the same sort of reason you see the people that do lawn servicing also doing Christmas lights and leaf cleanup and snow plowing. Their business is seasonal, so they've diversified. You need to as well. We all do. Alrighty, so I hope this maybe helped you learn some of the lessons I learned the hard way, not have to go through them as painfully maybe. I also want to thank all the folks on the screen here, the patrons who stuck by and have supported the channel for a couple years now, some of y'all. There's going to be some more information, some of the links here, and don't forget to stick around, come back later on today for our Cyber Monday sale on all of the Weld It Yourself kits, including flowers. If you want flowers, they make a great Christmas gift. Till next time, thanks for stopping by.